I still remember the exact second the last thread snapped. I was 38, parked on the shoulder of a frozen interstate while the blizzard tried to bury my truck alive. 9 hours of white nothing. Heater coughing. Dashboard clock mocking me. My kids, Mason and Ellie, were waiting in school gyms that would soon lock. And I dialed the one number I'd always believed would answer. Mom. I'm stuck. Blizzard shut everything down. Can you get the kids? A long exhale through the line, like I'd asked her to lift something heavy. I'm at the salon with your sister's puppy. They're doing her nails and a little bow. Call a rideshare, honey. 9 hours. $370 later, a stranger picked up my terrified children while I sat powerless, watching snow erase the horizon. That night I sat in the dark of our living room, laptop glow on my face, and quietly erased them from every safety net I'd ever handed over. Life insurance. House emergency contacts. Phone plan. Gone. 3 years passed like scar tissue. Then, during a graveyard shift lull at the station, my phone buzzed once. Your father's in the hospital. Heart attack. Come now. No, how are you? No, how are the grandkids? Just the old reflex demand, as if nothing had changed. My thumbs hovered. Then I typed 4 words I'd rehearsed in silence for 36 months. My name is Ethan Harlow. I'm 38 years old. I hit send and turned the screen face down on the desk. The precinct fluorescent hummed overhead. Somewhere a radio crackled about a domestic call. I didn't move. Let me take you back, really back, to the house on the edge of Boise where the lawn was always mowed but the inside felt like a stage set for someone else's drama. My father, Daniel, was the kind of man who repaired boilers at the community college until his knees gave out and never once raised his voice about it. My mother, Evelyn, ran our home like an auction house. The loudest bid won every resource. Every apology, every scrap of attention. And then there was my younger sister, Nora. Nora was the fragile artwork everyone was afraid to touch wrong. I learned early that love in our house wasn't measured in fairness. It was rationed by volume. Christmas when I was 10, I unwrapped a pair of gloves, practical, wool, the kind that keep fingers from cracking in Idaho winters, and a dog-eared copy of Hatchet. Nora opened a rose gold acoustic guitar with pearl inlays. My father's gaze slid to me for half a heartbeat, guilty, then away. Look at that shine, he murmured. My mother beamed. She's got real passion, Ethan. We have to feed it. I folded the gloves neatly back into tissue paper and wondered why passion only belonged to people who cried louder. Middle school. I brought home straight A's laminated on bright cardstock. My mother was mid-sentence on the phone, planning Nora's vocal coaching. I waited. She glanced over. Tape it to the fridge, sweetheart. It stayed there 3 days, long enough for Nora to sob over missing a choir solo. Next afternoon they were at the boutique buying her a sequin dress to lift her spirits. My report card migrated to a drawer and never resurfaced. By 16 I understood the math. My stability was background noise. Nora's crisis was the main event. Only my grandfather Elias ever named it out loud. He'd pick me up in his old Ford pickup that smelled of pine resin and motor oil, drive us to a roadside cafe with cracked vinyl booths, and let me talk without interrupting. One afternoon, after my mother had snapped that I was making things difficult by questioning why Nora got a new laptop while mine limped along on duct tape, Elias set his coffee down. Your mother's heart is big, boy. But it's got a permanent shadow over one corner. Don't let her shadow cover your whole damn life. Those words landed like the first clear breath after being underwater too long. I became a police officer because I craved lines that couldn't be redrawn on a whim, rules, consequences, structure. I met my wife, Sarah, at 29. She's calm in the way steel is calm, strong, unapologetic, allergic to emotional blackmail. My family called her distant the moment she refused to play along with the guilt choreography. We have 2 kids now. Mason's 10, all elbows and endless questions. Ellie's 8, still believes every promise adults make. When they were tiny, my mother would pose for photos holding them, grandma's little angels. Then vanish before the diapers needed changing. Meanwhile Nora drifted, barista jobs, failed Etsy shops, boyfriends who left bruises or broke leases. Each time she crashed back home, my mother rebuilt the world around her tears. And I became the ATM with a heartbeat. It began quietly. "Ethan, your dad's worried about the cell bill, mind adding us to your family plan? $80 a month. Temporary," I told myself. Then Nora's transmission died, $600. Then another $800 for unexpected repairs. Then Mom needed help with Dad's root canal deductible, $1,200. Then Nora's rent, $1,500, just this once. Every request arrived wrapped in the same velvet lie: family takes care of family. As if I were the only one with a wallet instead of feelings. Sarah saw it first. One night after I wired $700 for Nora's overdue power bill, she sat across from me at the scarred oak table we'd refinished together. Are we paying rent on her life choices? I opened my mouth to defend. Nothing came out clean. Only habit. Old hope. That 9-year-old still trying to buy fairness with usefulness. I'd also made the mistake of thinking ahead like a cop thinks ahead. When we bought the house, I listed my parents as secondary beneficiaries on my department life insurance, just in case. Gave Mom a spare key for emergencies. Added her to school pickup forms when the elementary was closer to their place. Even let her become an authorized user on a credit card in case something happens. Every pushback triggered outrage. So Nora should just suffer because you're too rigid. My mother's favorite weapon: not everyone's wired like you, Ethan. Then the blizzard hit. Mountain training ran long. Roads turned to glass. A jackknifed semi blocked the pass. 9 hours of immobility. Phone dying. Kids' dismissal looming. Sarah was stuck in a deposition she couldn't abandon. Friend streets were unplowed. So I called the woman who'd always preached family first. "Mom, I'm trapped on the interstate. Please, get Mason and Ellie from school." Pause. Then the sigh that could cut glass. "I'm at the groomer with Nora's little Pomchi. They're giving her a spa day. Use Lyft. My kids are waiting in a storm." "Ethan, don't be dramatic. It's just pickup." I hung up before the roar in my throat escaped. $370. A stranger's car. My son crying in the back seat. My daughter asleep against the window, exhausted from fear. When I finally staggered home after midnight, Sarah met me at the door. She held up her phone. My mother's Instagram story from hours earlier: Nora's freshly groomed dog in a pink bow, captioned, "Blizzard pamper session with my princess sparkling heart. Nothing stops me from showing up." Something inside me closed like a vault. That night I sat alone in the garage, cold concrete under me, and methodically severed every tether. Beneficiaries changed. Phone lines canceled after paying off devices. Spare key collected. Emergency contacts rewritten. Locks rekeyed at dawn. The fallout was immediate. Screaming voicemails. Nora's essay-length texts calling me heartless, power-tripping, just like a cop to think you're above us. My father stayed silent, his usual surrender. Only Elias called. "You breathing, kid?" I told him everything. The groomer. The price tag. The post. Long silence. "Then, you didn't cut them off. You stopped letting them cut you." He drove over the next weekend with a binder of old statements, screenshots, receipts. We built a quiet fortress of proof, not for revenge. For memory. So I could never doubt myself again. A month later, Dad's quiet retirement dinner at a dimly lit steakhouse downtown. My mother insisted we come, for closure. Sarah squeezed my hand under the table, steady. Present. Halfway through appetizers, my mother raised her glass. To family. Daniel's finally resting. Nora's trying so hard. And Ethan, she smiled thinly. Ethan's doing what Ethan does. Nora leaned forward. Yeah, like cutting us off over one little day. We still don't have phones because Mr. Badge decided to play judge. The room stilled. I set my knife down. Voice low. Clear. It wasn't one little day. It was the day you chose a dog's manicure over your grandchildren freezing in a school parking lot. $370 for a stranger to do what you wouldn't. And then you posted how nothing stops you from showing up for the dog. My mother's smile cracked. Ethan, this isn't the time. It's exactly the time. Because you've spent 38 years telling a story where I'm the problem for having boundaries. Where I'm cruel for refusing to be your unlimited resource. Elias cleared his throat beside me. Evelyn. You picked the puppy. I heard the call myself. Stop rewriting Sky. Nora hissed, Grandpa, don't. No, he said. Then he opened the binder. Placed it on the table like evidence. Receipts. Transfers. Promises of just once stretching back a decade. Thousands documented. The table went funeral quiet. My father stared at his plate. My mother's eyes filled, but not with remorse. With the shock of being seen. And in that silence the full truth landed like a brick through glass. They never loved me less because I was steady. They resented me because my steadiness exposed how little they were willing to give back. I stood. Sarah stood with me. I looked at each of them, mother, sister, father who chose quiet over justice. I'm not the villain in your version anymore. I'm just not in it. We walked out into the cool night air. 3 years later the text arrived. Heart attack. Crisis mode. Expecting me to rush in like always. I sent my name and age instead. Because some lines, once crossed, don't get uncrossed. If the people who were supposed to show up for you chose convenience over you, again and again, would you keep the door open? Or would you finally close it? Tell me in the comments. I read every one. Thanks for watching. Do subscribe for more.